Hi, everyone. Welcome to our live. I'm Bethany with Singer. I'm one of our educators, and today we are going to be talking all things Singer Momento Cutting Machine, which is sitting right here in front of me. Absolutely beautiful. And today I'm going to teach you or show you, demonstrate all the different things that it can do. We're going to go through a lot of different demonstrations, but I just wanted to say hi, say thank you for joining us. If you just tuned in, please leave in the chat. I'd love to know if you've ever used a cutting machine and what are some of the things that you've made on a cutting machine. Letting us know what you like to make also helps us know the kind of projects and content you want from us. So we'll be taking notes of that. So be sure to let us know that in the chat. And real quick, just so you know, I do have a wonderful team of people behind the camera helping today. So if you see some responses to your questions in the chat from any of them, they are there to help me out today. But if it's something I need to repeat or show again, they'll definitely let me know, and I can do that here. And again, if it's not a link from Singer, do not click on the link. All right. All right, guys, so let's get started with our demonstration. I'm going to act like you've never seen this machine before. We're going to go over some of the what comes in the box and all of that fun stuff so you know exactly what is entailed with this machine, and then we'll get to cutting some really fun stuff. All right, so first of all, this is the Singer Momento. It is a 24-inch wide cutting machine. That's right, 24-inch wide cutting machine, and it can cut so many different things. I'm excited to show you that, but let's talk about what comes in the box and some of the things and the features that I love most, all right? So what comes in the box besides this beautiful machine is 2 different blades. So you're gonna get a basic blade, and Amanda, we're gonna switch over here to the up close camera. There we go. So this is our basic blade. It comes with the machine, and it is going to cut your cardstock, your paper, your vinyls, like your heat transfer vinyl, your adhesive vinyl. This little tip right there is quite sharp, and it'll cut through all of that. So we are going to use this one here in a little bit. The other blade that comes in the box is our rotary blade. This is a smart blade. You can see right here, it's got a little computer chip that plugs right into the machine, which you'll see in a second. And we've got these little rotary blades on here, and it gets those intricate cuts. So we're going to be cutting some different materials and fabrics with that today. And you know what? This actually comes in the box. We're one of the only cutting machines on the market that includes the rotary blade in the box, which I love. Another thing that comes in the box is one of our dual tip pens, which is the black one. One end is a marker, and the other end is a fine tip pen. So all of our pens like this, our dual tip pens, are 2-sided, which is great. So you basically get a 2-for-1, but this one comes in the box. We'll be using it in a little bit. And what else comes in the box, we'll switch back over to this camera. There we go, is one of our 12 by 24-inch standard grip mats. This comes in the box as well. Something else that comes in the box is a piece of adhesive vinyl and transfer tape. So as soon as you get it out of the box, you can make your first cut. You can start playing. I think the first cut I ever made was the Singer logo, and it's sitting out stuck to the back of my computer because we want you to get started with it as soon as you get it home. All right, so that's what comes in the box standard, which is a lot, and you're ready to get going. But, you know, we did say in our live today that we were going to do something a little special, and we've never done this before, so I'm really excited to do this with you all. During our live today, we are doing a bundle deal. This is only available during our live, and I only have 30 of these bundles. So it is first come, first serve. And I'm going to tell you what those bundles are, because not only do you get everything in the box, but you also get a few extra goodies, okay? So real quick, the machine and what I just showed you that normally comes with it, it retails for $8.50. But our deal today is $6.99, okay? But I have 3 extra little goodies I'm going to throw in there just during the live. And the first one is probably the one thing I use the most. Let me get it off my little hook over here. Big. This is our 24 by 24-inch fabric mat. So all of our mats are color coded. I showed you the gray one already. This is our standard grip. It comes with the machine, but then we're adding in the 24 by 24-inch fabric mat because we know our Singer lovers, they sew, they cut fabric. That's what you're here to see today. And we're going to be using the smaller version of this mat today in the demonstration, but you're going to get the really big one with this deal. So that's awesome. So we have that. Set that down. 2 other things I promised you. Let me pull those out. The first one is our basic tool set. So let's go over here to this camera, Amanda, so they can see it up close. This is our basic tool set. I'll get this camera orientation in a minute, but it comes with all the tools that you're going to need to get started with any type of crafting. Paper, vinyl, fabric, doesn't matter. You're going to need all of these, and it comes in this bundle deal today. And the other thing, which is probably one of my favorite accessories, and you're probably going to say, that's silly, but when you see it in action, you'll know why. I'm going to show you this in a minute. This is a heat removable fabric pen, okay? Heat removable fabric pen. I can draw on my fabric with this, like my seam allowances, right? I can sew up my pieces, and then I can use an iron or one of our heat presses, which I'm going to show you today, to make those marks go away, and they just vanish like magic. It's so fun. So you're going to get all three of those extra goodies. We'll go back to our big camera. Thank you. So you're going to get the mat and these two extra goodies in this bundle deal. Now, those three extra goodies is an extra $69 value. And again, this bundle is only available during a live to the first 30 people. All right, so you're ready to see it in action. Let's start playing around and cutting things out. All right. So the first thing I want to show you is our screen right here. This does come with a touch screen, full color touch screen, so we can zoom in close here. And on this touch screen, we have some features I like to point out. The first one being our presets shapes. These are most commonly cut shapes by quilters. Of course, we had our fabric quilters and fabric sewists in mind. And what I love about this is I can select, let's say, this half square triangle. This is it's set to a 2.5 inch. You can change the size, but at this preset size, I can load that big fabric mat I just showed you with fabric, and I can tell this machine to fill the mat with 2.5 inch square triangles, half square triangles. And anybody have a guess at how many I can cut out on that big mat? That big 24 by 24 inch mat? I'm going to give you a second to place a guess. All right, the answer is 128. Did anybody guess 128? You can cut out 128 2.5 inch half square triangles on our biggest mat, which is phenomenal. So just imagine how quickly you can get your shapes cut out and get to sewing. The next thing I want to show you is our favorites. And this is what we're going to be visiting a lot today, because I've already saved all of our cuts that I'm going to do today right here in my favorites. But this is for people who cut a lot of the same thing over and over. So I'm thinking about people who have like an Etsy shop, and they are selling like maybe earrings, and they have patterns that they cut all the time. They can save those right in here, load a mat, select their pattern that they cut all the time, and start cutting. They don't have to connect to a device or anything like that, which I think is wonderful. One of my other favorite features, and this might be silly to some of you, but I love this because I want to make sure that what I'm going to cut is going to cut perfectly. And this is our little test cut button right here. This lets me pick my blade, my force, my speed, and I can tell it to do a little test cut. And it does the tiniest little square in the corner, and I can check it and make sure that I'm using the right settings for whatever material I'm using. Now, we do have in our software presets for materials, so you don't have to figure that out every time. But if you're doing something that maybe we don't have listed in our software, then you can, or you want a custom cut, then you can figure that out here. So I love that feature. All right, so let's jump into our favorites. Let's get to cutting. I'm going to select this one real quick. And I'm doing all of this from the screen. I'm not using a device today, but you absolutely can. And I'll be showing you our software here in a little bit. Let's see here. We're going to select that. And the first thing I need to do is get my mat. So if we want to load this up. Now, the first cut I'm going to do for you guys today is going to be on some flannel. I know you can't feel how soft it is at home, but it is a very soft fabric. So let me come back over here. I can load the mat right here. There it goes. Now, one thing that's great about this machine is you saw it just load the mat. It makes sure that the mat is perfectly smooth and straight and flat before we move forward. If I get any sort of ripple, maybe I didn't get it right under here or something, I'll spit it right back out, fix it, reload it. I know I'm going to get a good cut. Now, before I cut, I need to load my blade. So I'm going to slide our rotary blade or smart blade in here. Here we go. And I know it's in there because it lights up green. All right. And then I'm going to tell it to cut design. which is right here. Now, you can't hear it because it's so quiet, but it's spinning and thinking it's sending that design to our smart blade, and then it's going to cut out some of our basic shapes. And I'm going to let you watch that for a second. And I've got it set up to one of our faster speeds, so you'll be able to see just how quickly it does cut our shapes out of fabric. All right, I'm going to pause for a second and ask if we have any questions while this is cutting out.
Asking how many layers of fabric?
Okay, that is a great question. So the question was, how many layers of fabric can I cut? And the answer is 1. And the reason is because we want our fabric to stick directly to our mat. Now, I've already preloaded our mats, but they are sticky, okay? And so we want to make sure that our material stays stuck to our mat. So only 1 layer. But I will tell you that one of the questions I get a lot is, does our fabric have to be bonded or interfaced or anything like that? And the answer is no. That is one of the great features about our machine is your fabric does not have to be interfaced or bonded. So if you want to cut out your quilting pieces or your shapes or whatever, you absolutely can. But you can bond your fabric if you're going to do some delicate applique or something like that. So absolutely, you can do bonded and unbonded fabric.
Another question is, how long is the blade last and how long is the mat?
Okay, 2 other great questions. The first, well, look, we're already done cutting. The first question was, how long does the rotary blade last? And that's a great question. If we want to go back to that main camera real quick, and I'll answer this. All right, so the rotary blades, just like any rotary blade, we were using my rotary cutter earlier. I was trying to cut fabric with it last night, and I was like, I don't think I know the last time I changed this blade, and I was struggling with it. And I was like, okay, well, that's time for me to change my blade. So same kind of concept with this. You're going to want to change your blades the more you use it. We do have replacement blades. And one thing, I don't have any here with me in the studio today, but one of the things I love about our replacement blades is I don't have to touch the blade to replace it. They're teeny tiny. I don't want to cut myself. It has a whole little, like, you drop it in. It's super easy to replace our blades, and they do come in sets of 2. So we do sell replacement blades for that. The second question we just got was, how long did the mats last? They last as long as you take good care of them. The best way that I choose to take care of them, and I have what's called a wash day. So I'll do a lot of cutting and project testing and all that stuff for you guys. And then I'll do a wash day. And I take all of my mats and I either use a lotion-free unscented baby wipe, okay, and just wipe it down to get all the fuzzies off from your fabric and materials. And I lay it flat, and then the stickiness will come back as it dries. And then the clear protective sheet that goes on top of these, you want to make sure you put them back so that they stay sticky in between uses. And you want to leave your mats either flat or hanging like I had that big one, okay? So use your wall space, get a little clip, hang them up if you want, but they don't need to be rolled up, okay? You can also use like a gentle dish soap to wash it. Just use your hand and a gentle dish soap and some water. Do not scrub. We don't want to remove the adhesive, okay? So as long as you take care of them like that, just like any other mat, it will work just fine. Let me eject my mat. There we go. All right, so if you want to come back over to this camera for me, I'm going to see if I can do this at an angle. All right, we're going to peel this up. Now, you probably can't even see where those cuts are. I can barely see them. But we're going to peel this up, and there's our fun shapes that I picked out. Look at that. This mat is a brand new one, so it's super sticky. Look at that. We've got our fun shapes on here. We can peel these off if we want. And see those little fuzzies? That kind of stuff happens. And that's where you do those little wash days and you just get them off. So we can just pick that off, and we've got all of our little shapes. Easy peasy. And this is flannel, and it does such a beautiful job cutting flannel. I love that. All right. So we have done some fabric cutting. I'm going to slide this underneath here. All right, let's go back to our main camera real quick. Do we have any other questions?
More like, can it cut stretch fabric?
Yes, I have cut some knit. Actually, that flannel's got a little bit of stretch to it. Again, it's all about getting your material sticking to your mat. One of the tools that we have that I absolutely love, and I was going to point this out later, but this is a great time to do so. This is our 6-inch brayer. So think of this mat and this brayer, how easy it is to get your material smoothed down. It's a nice, good size. I love our brayer. It's going to help make sure any material, fabric, cardstock, vinyl, whatever you're using is adhering to your mat. Now, real quick, I will mention this. We do have 4 different sticky mats, 4 different types, and come in 3 different sizes. So you are getting this one with the machine, and you're getting the big red one for the fabric mat, but we do have a couple others. So I'm going to say those real quick. Our mats come in 3 sizes, 12 by 12, 12 by 24, and then the big 24 by 24. Okay. They come in 4 different stickies: standard grip, light grip, strong grip, and fabric. So you have lots of options. You can get all of our mats over on singer.com. But remember, you're getting that big fabric mat with this bundle deal today. And if you're just tuning in, I'll let you guys know what that bundle deal is. The bundle deal is $6.99. We only have 30 of these bundles only available during the live. So they're first come, first serve. The bundle deal includes everything that you get in the box with the machine, plus a couple other goodies. So let me show you those real quick. You get our basic tool set. You get our heat removable fabric pin, which you'll see me use in a minute. And you also get one of the 24 by 24 fabric mats. That's included. That's a $69 value that's included in the bundle deal for $6.99 with the machine. We've never done that before. You're only going to have it during this live today. Okay? All right. Y'all ready to see another cut, or do we have another question? Yeah. Let's hear it.
Does it scan? And then I know you're prepared for this one. Does it do print and then cut?
Okay, great questions. Amanda, how would you answer the scan question?
It doesn't scan.
It doesn't scan. Okay, so that's the answer to that one, but it does do print then cut, or print and cut. And to explain what that is for those who don't know, if you ever wanted to make your own stickers, this is the perfect feature for that. And this is what that is. So this is sticker paper. You can print one sticker on it. You can print a whole sheet. But basically, you go into our software, you upload your image, you do a little border around it, you tell it it's a print, and then you're going to cut. It's going to then connect to your printer at home, okay? And your color printer at home, you're going to put the sticker paper in your color printer, print it out. When it does that, you'll see these little registration marks. I'll go over here to this camera real quick. There we go. You see these little like corner registration marks? Those are, it's going to add that to your design, and then we've got all of them here. Once it's done printing, you're going to put it on your mat, which I would probably use just the standard grip or even the light grip mat for sticker paper. And then it's going to cut. It's going to use these registration marks to know where your images are, right? And then it's going to cut around it. So I can maybe, let's see here. These are the cutest little stickers, little kitty cat stickers. There we go. Got our little kitty cat sticker right there. How cute is that? I'll get a little closer. So how fun. You can make a whole sticker sheet. You could do your logo for your small business or your whatever you're doing. I absolutely love these. Let's see here. Where can I stick my sticker? I'll stick it on my little sheet over here. There we go. All right. So you can do that. I just wanted to make sure you guys got to see that. So I had these sitting out. Any other questions real quick?
Do you have to have a computer to use it?
Okay, let's talk software real quick. This is a perfect time to do that. Let me get this turned on. All right, so you can use a tablet like I'm going to show you today, or you can use a computer, PC, Mac, Android, Apple, doesn't matter. We have all the versions. And the software is something you would go to mysonet.com to download it. The basic software comes with the machine for free. All right. And then we do have a whole library of projects that you can check out, which I'll show you some of those in a minute. But let me go over to this other camera real quick so you can just see the interface of the software. So Amanda, do you mind switching this over real quick? There we go. So this is our software. Now, if you've ever heard of our MySewNet embroidery software, if you know what that is, a lot of people do, and they love it. So we decided to take that and turn it and give us a version of that that is crafting based. So this is our MySewNet crafting software. And this is my little workspace I've got set up here, and I loaded in our Singer Momento logo. But you can just see from this instance, it's very user-friendly. Very easy. Amanda has made some wonderful tutorials on how to use our software. There's more of that content coming. So yeah, basically you can upload an SVG and get to cutting. And then we also have fonts in here, basic shapes. You can upload your own fonts from your own device if you have some. Like I have a ton of fonts and it uploaded them all perfectly. So there's a lot of great features in this, and our software is continuing to grow every day thanks to our software team. So I want to go back to that main camera real quick. Now, one thing I do love is you can, if you're using a tablet or that kind of device, you can set it right here on top of the machine. Got a little groove here for that. And the machine, if you're listening, this machine is Wi-Fi enabled, not Bluetooth. We're not doing Bluetooth. We're doing Wi-Fi enabled. We want to make sure we have a really strong connection between our device and our machine so that we don't drop it during mid-cut. That's the worst. I've had that happen with Bluetooth, and it's the worst. So we made sure we made our machine Wi-Fi enabled. So we can easily send our designs to our machine. But as you've been seeing me cut today, I'm not connected to a device. Like, this is just for show. I'm not connected to a device. All of my cuts and demonstrations that I'm showing you today are saved to the favorites directly on the machine. So once I cut something once, I can save it as a favorite. So with that being said, I don't even have to be connected to a device to use this machine. I don't even have to be on the Wi-Fi to use this machine. I can literally just plug it in, turn it on, and start cutting any of my favorites or my preset shapes, which is wonderful. So I hope that helps answer your questions. If you have any more software-based questions, leave them in the chat and we'll try to answer those. All right, let's cut something else. Let's see what else we got. Let's go back to my favorites. All right, so this time we're going to do some squares and I'm going to show you the fabric pen. So I'm selecting quilting cotton in here. That's one of our presets. Let me get me a fabric. And we're going to load in the fabric pen as well. Now, I will say I have my fabric right side down because I am going to be drawing the seam allowances, which I want on the wrong side of the fabric. So I'm going to load this in. There we go. All right, easy enough. Come back around, load mat. It's going to feed it in. There we go. We are cutting with fabric, so of course we're still using the rotary blade, but this time I am going to put in my heat away fabric marker. So that goes in here. Now, one thing I like to point out is we have two tool bays. This one is always going to be your cutting tool. This one is always going to be your pen tool. So a marker, fabric marker, one of our gel pens that can go in here. Okay, so that makes it very easy. You can set up to do the entire project and not have to pause and change a tool, which is great. All right, so now I've got my tools in there. I'm going to tell it to cut design. I'm going to put my little cap in my little tool caddy here so I don't lose it. I tend to sit things down. Now it's thinking for a second. Is it cutting? It's not drawing my lines, but it should have. Should I pause it or keep going? We can just let it cut out the shapes. It's fine. All right, so while it's doing that, do we have any other questions, Amanda?
All right, let's see.
Lots of questions, it sounds like.
Yep.
Okay.
So is this more for sewing and embroidery? So like
That's a great question, and I would say yes, but also it's for anyone who wants to do any kind of crafting. So paper crafts, if you like to make your own cards, if you like to do vinyl, like heat transfer vinyl and shirts or something, or you want to do sticker vinyl and cups, it can do all of that. And I'm going to be doing some paper and vinyl stuff here later. I just wanted to show the fabric side first. But yeah, it literally can do whatever you throw at it.
after cutting the fabric, are you able to stick it on clothing? If so,
Can you say that a little louder?
after
Sorry.
cutting the fabric, are you able to stick it on clothing?
Yeah.
If so, how?
Okay, so let's say you wanted to do like an applique, is what I'm kind of guessing. So that is where you would use a bonding, like a heat and bond or something that you could fuse to the backside of your fabric, and then you can place that onto your mat, cut out your design, and then you have that fusible already attached to your design that you just cut out. Put it on your material, press it on, and your fabric is now adhered, and then you can sew around it if you want and do that whole applique satin stitch that we know and love. So yeah, you could absolutely do bonded fabric or unbonded fabric. This is not bonded fabric that I'm doing today, so it's totally up to you.
Can you resize the presets? I'm guessing it's the presets.
Yeah, so those presets that I showed you with those different shapes, most commonly used by quilters, you can resize them. If you do want to fill the mat, you would need to go into our software to fill up the mat manually. But if you want to use the preset sizes that are in here, you can just use those sizes to fill the mat and it'll figure it out for you. But you can go in and change those sizes and use that same shape. And those same shapes are also in the software under our basic shape. So you can mix and match. If you want to do half the mat one shape and the other half another shape, you absolutely can. It's totally up to you. You have creative freedom. Okay. Now, while this is doing this, I'm going to show you one of our projects that I made for our project for the month of May. I always make a fun project for Singer for sewing related, but this time I had to throw in the Momento crafting in there. And so we've got this quilted box bag, and I actually cut all of the pieces minus the zipper out on the Momento, even my fusible foam. So let's go over here to this camera real quick. All right, so this is, if you notice, it's the same material, okay? So this is my bag. This is the outside lining. This is the inside lining. And then this is the foam. I didn't fuse it or bind it because I wanted you to see that I cut this foam on our Momento, which is wonderful. So for my bag makers or people who like to make these quilted plushy bags, this interface is so nice to use. It cut out all three pieces. I fused them together. I quilted them with straight line quilting, but you could totally like do some embroidery on here. You could do, what else? You could do some heat transfer vinyl on there, whatever you want to do. All right. All right. I'm going to pause this and hit cancel because I think my little save design is cutting again, which is fine, but we don't need it to. Let's see what happens here. This is the fun of lives, right? All right. So I do have my squares. Let's see here. So it cut my squares beautifully, filled the squares. Now, one thing it didn't do, and that's okay, sometimes it may have just been how I saved my project, it didn't draw with my fabric pen. So I'm just going to doodle on here, and I'm going to show you how that works in a second. But it draws on here beautifully. What it would have done is draw a border like this. Okay, so we're just going to do it by hand right now. But I think it was just how I must have saved my project, which is totally fine. But I'm going to doodle on here because I want to show you how this marker goes away. So, all right, so that's what we're doing now. And we're going to switch in just a second. All right, I'm going to turn this on. All right, we'll get to that in just a second. All right. Let's cut something else for a minute. And while that press is heating up, okay, so one of the things that I showed you was our project of the month. And I know I made it out of this cute foam and quilted it, but I also made one out of cork because I love working with cork. If you've never worked with cork, you absolutely should try it. It's so fun. And this machine makes it really easy to work with. So I'm going to load a mat with cork. Now I filled the whole mat. Now you're seeing that I am filling my mats full. You do not have to. You can just fill the mat for the area that you're cutting. But we have been filling them full just for display here. Let's load this in. Let's load my mat. There we go. Awesome. All right, so I'm going to go back to my favorites, and I'm going to pick this little design I have right here. It looks like little teardrops. We're going to cut out some earrings. Have you ever made earrings out of cork or vinyl? If so, let us know. Let's see here. Heavy fabrics. There we go. And we're going to hit cut design. So now it's going to go through and cut out with our rotary. We're still using the rotary cutter, y'all. So with our rotary cutter, we're going to cut out some little cork earrings. If you want to switch over to this camera so they can see it cutting. Thank you, Amanda, my Vanna White today, my assistant.
Got some more questions.
All right, let's hear those questions.
Will I be able to import my own patterns into the software? I cannot scan that.
Yeah. So if you have a cut file, like a lot of bag patterns come with cut files these days. So if you have a cut file for your pattern, an SVG, then you can import it into our software. And if it fits in that 24 by 24 inch space, you can absolutely cut that out. So I think this is great for people who do bags, great for people who love to make those doll clothes, which are so cute. I mean, there's so many patterns out there. I used to make little doggy hair bows and doggy bow ties. I used to have an Etsy shop where I did all that fun stuff because I'm obsessed with my dogs. And this would have been a great tool for cutting out those hair bows and bow ties for sure, instead of doing it by hand, which takes forever. So, yes.
I think you just answered this. It's an SVG file.
Yes, it does. So an SVG file is a cut file. So you want to make sure that that is what you're importing.
Do you have to use a mat when cutting vinyl?
Okay, this is another great question, and our design is cut. So let me close this out, and then I'll answer that question. Give me 1 second. All right, so let's show this real quick. So this is cork. This is like a vinyl backed cork. Okay, so some cork can be really thin, but this one's not. And look at that. I just cut out a bunch of earrings. Whoop, there's one right there. Let's just stick it, just stuck in the fabric. There we go. So there's all of my earrings I just cut out. And you can poke a little hole, put a little earring thing in there, and you're good to go. And you just made what? 2, 4, 6, 8. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 pairs of earrings, which is awesome. And it just took seconds. All right, so let's go back to the main camera real quick. All right, so we had a question about, remind me again.
Do you have to use a mat when cutting vinyl?
That's the question. I love this question. And the answer is no. You can cut matless on the Memento, which is awesome. All right, so if the material is an adhesive vinyl or a heat transfer vinyl, you can cut matless up to 24 inches wide and up to 13 feet long. And we have tested it. It does work, which is super cool. So, I mean, just think if you wanted to do some decal on your store window or something, how fun would that be? Something for a kid's birthday, some signage. Just the projects at that size the options are endless. So, yes, you can cut matless. We do have pinch wheels here. If you can see these little wheels here, there is a lever here in the back. If I release the lever, I can move my pinch wheels around to whatever width vinyl I'm cutting to make sure my material is always secure, even when I'm cutting matless. How great is that? I love that. I love that so much. Okay, let's go over to our heat presses real quick, and we'll do that, and then we'll come back and cut some more. All right, so we have 2 different heat presses with us today. We have our mini heat press, and we have our square heat press. I'm not going to use the square one today, but the square one comes with the base, and it comes with this pressing pad. You can set it to a specific temperature, time. It walks you through everything. It's super easy to use. And then we have our mini heat press. What's different and unique about our mini heat press is you can actually set a specific temperature. You can set a timer. You can save presets. I absolutely love it. And it does both of these auto shut off. So it's nice and safe. Now you saw that I doodled with my fabric pen on here. And you can see my little doodles here on the back of my fabric. Now this is that heat away pin. Remember, this is the pin that you're getting in that bundle deal that I said is my favorite tool. And this is why it's gone. My little doodle is gone. Look at that. All gone. Just with a slight tap. Here's the before. And I just erased half of it. Y'all, I could sit here and do this all day. I mean, it's just so satisfying. So just imagine I sewed these pieces together and my seams are still drawn and I need them to go away and I could just press and they're gone. And I love it so much. So I had to show you guys that. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's like a magic eraser, just right? Super fun. All right, let's go back over here. Real quick, just a friendly reminder, we only have 30 of our bundles available during our live today. The bundle deal is, and I'm going to make sure I say this correctly, our bundle deal is the Memento and everything that comes in the box, right? So both blades that I'm going to use today, one of our dual tip pens and markers, and the 12x24 standard grip comes in the box for $6.99. But we're throwing in 3 extra things. We're throwing in, where did I sit them? We're throwing in our basic tool kit, our basic tool set that you need to get started with your crafting. That fabric heat away marker that you just saw like vanish, like I'm telling you, I could sit there and do that all day. And we're also going to give you the 24x24 inch fabric mat. This is the Big Mama Jamma mat. We also have these mats and other stickies like strong grip, light grip, standard grip, and fabric. But we're giving you a fabric one, the biggest one, with this bundle deal. So those 3 extra tools is an extra $69 value that you get for that $6.99 price with our machine today. All right, let's move on and cut something else. You guys were asking about other materials it can do. So let's go back to our favorites. Let's cut some vinyl, sticker vinyl. Who's ever stuck like something to like their tumbler? And I'm going to pull my tumbler out and take a little sip. Do we have any other questions real quick?
Let's see. We got will cut pattern pieces.
Pattern pieces, yes, as long as it's an SVG cut file.
Can those squares be touching each other so that there's less waste and more?
Yes. Yes, I just did that so I could spread them out on the mat and not cut so many because the more you fill in the mat, and it's TV time, right? We only have so much time with you. So I wanted to show you the demonstration, but yes, you can cut much closer. And when you do the fill the mat, they literally do line up. So you will be not wasting your fabric.
Did you change the pressure for the cork?
I didn't. I actually picked a material called a heavy material, and it did the setting for me. But again, remember we have that test feature, right? So maybe I go, oh, I'm not sure if that heavy material is heavy enough, like the pressure is enough, the force. So this is where you would use that test feature, and it would test and just do a little square in the corner, and you lift the corner and go, oh, it went all the way through, or it didn't go through enough, and you can adjust it, and then you can actually save that setting. So if I wanted to save a setting in here specifically for cork and the pressure that I want, and I do that little test and I know exactly the sweet spot, right? Then I can save that and it's always there. So I don't have to remember it, because I will not remember that number off the top of my head. So yeah, you can make custom fabric settings in here, which is wonderful. All right, next question.
What is the thickest fabric material it will cut?
That's a great question. I mean, you saw that I cut my fusible foam, which is a 1/4 inch. Now it does squish down. I have cut some stuff like that, but it has to fit under our pinch wheel. So Amanda, do you know what that millimeter is? 3 millimeters. She's our product specialist for a reason, and why I'm glad she's here today for some of these hard questions. I love it. And that's how we learn together. 3 millimeters. Okay. So it has to be able to go under these pinch wheels. So that's a great question. Any other questions? Are we good? For now, keep them coming though. I love it. I love it. So this is adhesive vinyl. This is a sticker vinyl. You may want to cut out something and stick it on a mug or whatever. But we're gonna do this one real quick. So let's load our mat. And before I cut this out, I'm gonna change my blade. I didn't have it pushed up against my wheels all the way. So this is what will happen. It'll spin and then it'll stop. And it'll say, hey, you didn't get that all the way up there because you're doing it upside down. Yeah, I know I didn't do it right. There we go. Now it's in there. It literally tells you exactly how to do it. So doing it upside down is a little tricky, but there we go. All right, so now that I'm cutting a vinyl, I want to switch to a different blade. Now, if you're new to cutting machines and you're not sure which blade to use, don't worry. If you tell it what material you're using, those presets are going to also tell you which blade to load into your machine. So if you're a beginner to cutting machines, don't feel intimidated. It literally walks you through it. So if I was doing this on my computer or my tablet, it would say, load the mat. It wouldn't let me do anything else until I loaded the mat. And then the next page of the screen would say, load your pin or load a blade, and it'll tell you which blade. So now we're going to take out our rotary blade and put in our basic blade. Just pops in. And we're good to go. Once my blades are in and my mat's loaded, then it'll let me move forward to actually cutting. Okay. So you really cannot mess it up. It makes it very easy for beginners to follow along. And I love that. So let's go down here to vinyl. I'm reading all of this upside down, so I'm hoping I'm picking the right settings here. And we're going to hit cut design. So now it's going to cut out my adhesive vinyl. We're cutting out just our logo, which is super fun. And then we can stick it to something or someone. But any other questions real quick while it's cutting? Okay. One thing I like to point out is just how quiet it is. Like, I don't have to talk over this machine, which I usually have to with my sewing machine. So this is fantastic how nice and quiet it is. They're really smooth cut, whether you're using your basic blade or your rotary blade. It is very quiet, very easy to use. And look, it's already done. It's already done cutting out our logo. So we're going to hit close. Go back to the home screen to eject our mat. And we're done. Now, I am going to come around to the front, grab my little weeding tool. This weeding tool does come in that basic tool set. So let's see here. Can we do this on the other camera? There we go. Sorry, I'm going to have to come to the front to do this. There's that. And then let's weed this little, whoop. There's our little S shape. And I'm going to kind of waste this whole little sheet here, which I normally wouldn't do. but I want you to be able to see the whole logo. There we go. We just cut a really big piece of vinyl. This is some sticky vinyl. Oh my goodness, I love it. So now I would take some transfer tape, stick it on top, remove it from this backing, and then go stick it on something like a notebook or whatever. But this is cutting out adhesive vinyl. And it does such a beautiful job. It was so easy to weed. And remember our little weeding tool, which, there we go. This little tool right here, it is sharp on the end. And it does come in that basic tool set so that weeding out this vinyl is super easy to do, especially on very intricate, detailed cuts. All right, now I've got a handful full of sticky vinyl. I'm gonna hide it underneath. All right, any questions about cutting vinyl? Are we good? I feel like this is the common use. I feel like this is a great use for like teachers in a classroom. You can use a temporary vinyl, temporary adhesive vinyl, put all your kids' names from the classroom on there to be able to make labels for their cubbies or their desk or whatever, where to turn in their homework. So I think this is a great tool because we have that large format, that bigger mat size to be able to do those bigger projects and get it all done in one swoop. All right, so let's do some cardstock. So let's see what else I got under here. Now for my cardstock, I am going to be using, you saw on my vinyl, I was using the gray mat, which is the standard grip, which does come with the machine. But for my cardstock, I am going to use a light grip mat, and I'm going to load that in here real quick. Let's see here, I got something stuck in my mat. There we go. All right, so the reason I want to use the light grip mat is because I want my paper to come off without curling, without tearing. So we're going to stick that in there. We're going to keep that basic blade in there. I'm going to make sure I got this all the way up against the wheels this time. I do. I caught it. It's going to feed it through. And this time I'm going to do a project and use the pen. This is the pen that comes with your machine. But I'm going to use the marker side. And I'm going to stick it in here. Let's see how this one writes. So let's go to this project. Let's see here. All right, this time I'm going to select cardstock. And all of those materials that I have in here are things that I've saved as favorites. And I'm going to hit cut design. Now, can we go to this camera real quick? It's cutting it out. It's not drawing. That's okay. We tried today, y'all. This is what happens with lives. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And what we've learned today is pre-saving. My pen is not working today for some reason, and that's okay. But it is going to cut out our cardstock, and it's going to cut out our letters, and that's okay. So we'll do that. Sorry about that. You can test and prep as much as you want, and sometimes these happen. Isn't that what I said before we started the live? Something always happens, and it's okay. You just got to run with it. And we are running with it today. Any other questions that I can answer? All right. Well, I had the cutest thing for you guys to see, and I hate that it didn't work, and that's okay. Sometimes these things happen. I do have my, let's see here. So I had this little bubble cut out. Oh, we do have it. So I can prove that it did work earlier, literally right before we went live, because we cut one out and it drew. But I had this little bubble cut out, and it was going to say, thank you for watching. How cute is that? Let me go back to over here. This is what it was supposed to do. You know, lives happen, right? But this is where it, instead of drawing, it cut the letters out. But it's okay. It happens, but we really do appreciate you guys watching and asking so many wonderful questions today. If you want to go back to that main camera. All right. Any other questions that I can help answer? Now is the time to ask me. Remember, we only have 30 of these bundles available during our live today. And I'll go through those bundle deals real quick. It is the Momento for $6.99. You get everything that comes in the box. Your standard grip 12 by 24 inch mat. You get your rotary blade and your basic blade and the pen tool all in the box. You also get your fabric heat away pen. your basic tool set, which you saw me use that weeding tool. It's so wonderful, must have for vinyl. And you're gonna get the large 24 by 24 inch fabric mat. All right, guys, just a few more minutes left. I think we'll let that deal go just a little bit longer. So if you're still thinking about it, now's the time to do that. And if you have any other questions, let me know now. I'm happy to answer those while we're here together today. We good, Amanda? Yep, we're good. All right, guys. If we don't have any other questions, I'm so glad that you joined me today for our live over on the Momento. We're so excited about this product. Don't forget, we have our heat presses. We have all these other accessories. One thing I didn't show you was our gel pens. We have a whole set of gel pens, which I love. And you can get other markers and other colors. These are our dual tip pens and markers. So be sure to check out our other tools that we have over on Singer.com outside of our awesome bundle deal today. And we appreciate you tuning in. Be sure to hop on over to mysewnet.com to see our full library of projects. And we're always adding new ones all the time. So be sure to check those out. One more question.
That they will come in and answer any questions they may have missed.
Okay, awesome. So that wonderful team of helpers behind the camera today that I told you about at the beginning of our live. If you think of any other questions, don't hesitate to go ahead and leave them in the comments. And those wonderful people will be answering those when our live ends so that you will get your answer. So just be patient with them and we'll get those answered for you. And again, we appreciate you tuning in today. We hope you have a wonderful Tuesday and we'll see you next time. Bye.